What's up, Radiant Icons? And welcome back to Dare to Be Iconic, the podcast made for icons daring to be themselves. I'm your host, Amanda Policelli. And today we are breaking up with the past, falling in love with the future. We are turning that pain into power. But before we get into that, I dare you to go to daretobeiconic.com and subscribe to our newsletter to join the Radiant Icon community and go to the show notes below to check out my newest journal, Break Up with the Past, Fall in Love with the Future. Our tea time sesh is starting now. Let's start with the concept of healing. Healing is like a roller coaster, okay? That feeling when you're going backwards, so that backsliding feeling when you're on a roller coaster is the same when you feel like you're backsliding in your healing journey, right? That is completely normal and it's part of the process. And sometimes that feels like failure, but it's not. We sometimes have to go backwards in order to propel forward. Healing is never going to be this linear straight line. It's like a roller coaster because there are dips and turns and everything in between. We're going to go upside down, sideways, like all the stuff that a roller coaster is. That is the concept of healing. That is what our healing journey looks like. So, how can we turn this pain that we are experiencing into a source of power, into a source of resiliency, and into strength? Letters have always been a trigger for me. My last ex, as I mentioned in the previous episode, broke up with me through a letter in a box. The ex prior to him was one of the most draining 2 months of my life. That was a 2 month relationship that I do talk about more in my blog sparsely. To sum it up, that 2 month horrible relationship ended also with a letter at my front door. And my ex that broke up with me through a box and a letter knew about that story because I was with him during that time when I received that letter from my first ex boyfriend. He knew how triggering letters were to me. I was so mad at him when I saw that letter at my front door. Because how can someone be so cruel and so insensitive, someone that you loved so much, to treat you in such a shitty way and to use something that they know is so painful for you to cause another traumatic memory? So for me, it felt like letters were consuming my life. And oh my God, I didn't think I was gonna get emotional. As you can see, it's still very fresh. But for me, this concept of turning pain into power comes down to how can I reclaim these things that were taken from me? For me, I have never experienced a letter in the way it should. That concept of love letters from to all the boys I loved before, letters never had that sweet love effect. It was taken from me because of trauma being placed. In my brain, I was so tired of me not being able to see a letter and not associate it with a positive memory. And that really sucked. I felt like it honestly took over my life. So when it came to how can I reclaim letters, I had to look within and do the work. I wanted to reclaim dates. I wanted to replace painful memories with happy ones. So every time October 10th comes around, I will now remember it not as the day of my breakup, but as the day of this Dare to Be Iconic movement starting because I released my blog, Dare to Be Iconic, on October 10th, 2023, a year after my breakup, so that that day can now be a happy memory for me. Every February 24th, I do something with my girlfriends to have a happy memory of that day. So this year, we literally went go karting, and I don't know if you guys know this, but on my social media, if you follow me, I am a big Formula One fan, big Lando Norris fan. So for me, karting has always been something I wanted to do. So why not have this first of something that I've always wanted that I love, make it on a day that is slightly triggering for me, that is slightly sensitive to me, right? That's how I turn my pain into power. That's how I break up with the past and fall in love with my future. That's how I find the strength and resilience in myself to bounce back, to reclaim my narrative, to reclaim my story. I take the days back, I take the memory back, and I make it into something positive for me. I make it into something that I can look back on and will always remember. That memory is now stitched in my head for February 24th. And it's no longer the day where my ex-boyfriend taped a letter to my apartment door after he broke up with me. It's no longer that. October 10th is no longer the day where I was broken up with in such a shitty and sensitive way. It's now a day where I took my power back. Turning your pain into power is all about finding the strength within yourself. How can you take certain instances in your life and reclaim them in your own unique, iconic way? This concept of breaking up with the past and falling in love with the future is a 5-step plan. In my journal that you can find in the show notes linked below, it is a 5-step process where I guide you in the pain to power journey. You have to break up with the past. You have to feel those feelings, embrace the emotional turbulence, go through the waves, feel them all to fall in love with your future and dare to be iconic. Because once you break up with that old version of you, with those old triggers, you are able to turn them into strength to fall in love with the future that you want for yourself. Once you step free from your triggers and from your pain, you're able to embrace so many amazing opportunities that will come into your life. I firmly believe that if my ex did not break up with me in the way that he did, I would not be where I am today. I would not be the icon that I am right now. And so, my hope is with this journal, with breaking up with the past, falling in love with the future, that you find that too within yourself. Because sometimes it just takes something really for you to want to change your life and step into your power. For me, it was the letters, it was the date, it was this whole entire thing, and being reminded once again that he thought he can take control of my life by bringing back something that was really, really cool. He doesn't get that. I will not let him take that from me. He doesn't get to take the day, he doesn't get to take the letters, and he doesn't get to take the box. So, how can I reclaim it? And I have. I hope you guys can too. I hope that through this journal and through the exercises in it, that I am able to guide you into this beautiful journey of falling in love with the iconic you that you're coming into. We all deal with shitty situations, and it's how we look at them and overcome them that shows us our strength and resiliency within. So that is our tea time sesh for today, Radiant Icons. I hope you were able to take away how you can turn your pain into power. In our next episode, we're going to be talking about the word iconic and how you can be an icon. So if you liked today's episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and follow me on Instagram at AmandaPayo1219 and check out the show notes below for my newest journal, Break Up with the Past, Fall in Love with the Future. Remember, Radiant Icons, dare to be iconic. I'll see you soon. Bye.